This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. All right. Let's ask everyone to please bow your heads as I lead us in a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we pause at this time to say thank you for the many blessings you have showered upon us each and every day. Lord, as we prepare to conduct the business of the county for a new year, we ask that you would guide each and every one of us in every endeavor, and that all that we say and do be pleasing to you. And Lord, I want to lift up Chairman Barrett and his family as they mourn the loss of a loved one. I also want to lift up Vice Chairman Kaysen as he continues to deal with medical issues. And also want to lift up the family of Neil McGahee as they mourn his recent passing. He's been a constant presence in our meetings for the past several years as a reporter for the Cordell Dispatch. Lord, we ask that you forgive us when we fail you. I ask all this in the powerful name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Now, if you would stand and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, the January 5th meeting of the Dilley County Commissioners is hereby called to order. The first order of business is to approve the proposed agenda for today's meeting. Does anyone have any additions?
I so moved.
I mean, now I have some additions. I think do you have the agenda attached to your minutes? Yes. Proposed number 10, need a new checking account for our opioid settlement funds. Number 11, about an upcoming planning commission meeting. And number 12, just want to have a discussion about a code enforcement officer. Number 13, discussion about maybe business and occupational tax. And number 14, discussion about our salary study. And I'd like to add an item, a brief executive session for a personnel matter. So is there a motion to approve the?
I so moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. That's unanimous. Thank you. Next, it's time for the election of the chairman of the board. Nominations are now in order for the position of chairman.
I nominate Mr. David Barron.
I second.
Okay. Are there any further nominations for position of chairman? Hearing none, the nomination period is now closed. All those in favor of Mr. Barron for chairman, please raise your hand. That's unanimous. Okay, congratulations, Chairman Barron. Do you want to take over now, or would you like for me to continue?
You can go on since you got started. You're the chairman for a minute, so.
You let me enjoy for just a minute.
Yeah.
The next is for the election of the vice chairman of the board. Nominations are now in order for the position of vice chairman.
I so moved to let Mr. Eugene Kaysen. Second.
Are there any further nominations for position of vice chairman? Hearing none, the nomination period is now closed. All those in favor of Mr. Kaysen for vice chairman, please raise your hand, and that is unanimous. Okay. So we just start. You ready to go down the items of the agenda now, Mr. Chairman? Okay. First, several of the reorganization steps for the board. Okay, we done that. Okay, board must appoint a county attorney for 2023. Last year it was William H. Gregory II.
That was a lot of they might want to change that second to third. The third down.
Do you need a motion for it?
Yes.
I so moved that we reappoint Mr. William H. Gregory II as our county attorney for 2023.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand.
I should have had a discussion on that, so we're gonna get a discount this year, right?
20%.
He's being good right now, so let's see how long it lasts.
Yes, we're gonna make up for it with the opioid funds.
Okay, item number 3, we just named the depositories for county funds for 2023. Last year it was PNC Bank, South Georgia Bank, and Cadence Bank. And I recommend we continue with those 3. And before we vote on that, let me just go over our accounts. This is from the last month's financial report. We have a listing of all the accounts. This group here is all what we call in our general fund. We have a DFAX rent account. It's at South Georgia Banking Company. We have a drug education account. It's at Cadence Bank. We have an EMS account at PNC, and we have an EMS2 account at South Georgia Bank. Explain that. The EMS account at PNC, that's the one we've had for years. It's the one that we're hooked up to get payments from Medicare, Medicaid, and all the insurance companies. And I just didn't want to go through the hassle of changing that account to one of the Dooley County banks. So I left that there because all those transactions are done electronically and doesn't require any physical going to it. But I did have to open up another EMS account here in the county because we get payments for the ambulance service that come here that have to be deposited. So that's why we have an EMS2 account at South Georgia Bank.
Do we transfer the money from the one account to the second account?
Normally what I do is as this money builds up and we get short in money, I transfer the money from the EMS to our general fund. We don't actually pay any bills from these accounts. We just transfer it to the general fund when it builds up and we need it. We have our general fund, which is our main checking account at Cadence. That's where we pay all our bills out of. We have a jail fund account at South Georgia Bank. And we currently have 3 LMIG accounts for 2020, 2021, and 2022. We will be getting our 2023 LMIG distribution shortly, so we'll be having to get a new account for LMIG 23 sometime in the future. It's a whole lot easier and cleaner to have a separate checking account for each year. So because DOT is subject to come audit these, and it's just going to be a whole lot cleaner to have a separate checking account. We have a separate checking account for payroll, and that's at Cadence. And our reserve account is at Cadence. And we have a solid waste account, which the garbage payments go through there. It's at South Georgia Bank. And then in our grant fund, we have 2. We have our American Rescue Plan Act account. And then we just have a general grants account for. Sometimes we have some small grants that don't require a separate checking account for each grant. So we just run them through a grants account. Anytime we get a large grant, we open up a new checking account for each one of those because it's just a lot cleaner to keep the records on those. And then in the SPLOST fund, we still have some money in. All right, we have some SPLOST 2013, 2018. That's the previous SPLOST period. The library still has a little bit of money in their old SPLOST account. The rec department, after December, will not have any. We're closing it out. And then we get into the current SPLOST period of 2019 through 2024. We have a separate account for the courthouse, EMS, fire, jail, library, recreation, and roads. And then we have a account for our T-SPLOST that is now the old T-SPLOST because that T-SPLOST expired December 31st last year. On the agenda later, I'll be requesting authority to open up a new T-SPLOST checking account for the new T-SPLOST that went into effect January 1. But we still get all the SPLOST and the T-SPLOST. The state wires us that money the end of each month. The money like we got the end of December, I gotta get my thoughts together. That was the money that actually the businesses collected, from what I'm told, in November. Then the businesses remit it to the state. The state turns around and collects it all, and then they turn around and give it to each city and county at the end of December. So the money we got at the end of December was for November's collections. So we'll still get one more T-Splost for the money we get at the end of January will be for December. So that'll be the last deposit we'll make into the old T-Splost, and then we'll start putting the new money in the new T-Splost account. So that's more than y'all asked for. But anyway, I would still recommend we still have PNC Bank, South Georgia Bank, and Cadence Bank as our depositories for 2023. And need a motion to that effect.
I make a motion.
Let me get 10 while you're at it. Let me get 10 while you're at it.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you.
So we didn't have no discussion on it.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask, okay, why, I'm just curious, it don't make no difference. With the Cadence and the South Georgia Bank, so it got to be a different in the fees, why you had two separate accounts or whatever? I mean, the services that they're offering.
Okay, yes, sir. Cadence. Our general fund, our major accounts are the general fund and payroll account. They used to be at PNC, but PNC fees got so expensive, we moved them to Cadence. At that time, the option was PNC, Cadence, or at that time it was Bank of Dooley. Bank of Dooley at that time didn't have the ability to do payroll direct deposit like we do it, so that's why we chose Cadence. Now, South Georgia Bank can do payroll direct deposit, but we're already set up at Cadence, so that's why I'm saying let's leave those. That's why we only got 3 accounts at Cadence. The rest of them, so South Georgia Bank's got way more accounts, but money-wise, it's probably pretty even out now. So I'm trying to keep the money even between the 2 banks in the county.
Right.
It's what I'm trying to do.
I was just curious.
Okay. All right. Okay, now item number 4, Mr. Name a legal organ for the county for 23. Last year it was News Observer.
So move that we leave the News Observer as legal organ.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. Yeah. Item number 5, we must appoint a member to represent the commission in civil defense affairs for 23. Last year it was Commissioner Casey.
What is that?
It's sort of like if we have a natural disaster like a tornado or something, it's the board's liaison with the EMA director rather than the EMA director having to run out all the commissioners. He just deals with whoever the board appoints, and then this member keeps the board advised of what's going on, basically. Not a whole lot involved in it.
I nominate Commissioner Casey.
I second.
Second. Okay.
That's what I was about to say until he come off of his ailment, and then we can always go back to this if he doesn't want. Yeah. Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. Thank you. The board must appoint a member to represent the commission on the Board of Health for 23. For 22, it was Chairman Barron.
So move that we leave it Chairman Barron.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. Thank you. Let's adopt the next item is to adopt the official holidays for county employees. It's the same 11 holidays that we had last year.
I so move that we keep the same.
Robinson. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. Thank you. All right. Now it's time we normally just do a quick review of all the appointments that the board makes to different boards. And the best way to do that is go to the county website and click on county directory. And this first group is just all the different departments we have. And if you ever need some contact information for a different department, this is a good place to get it. And then this is down at the next group is all the boards that the commissioners appoint members to. First one on here is the Chris Dooley Joint Development Authority. Click on it. Current members are Robert Jeter, Mac Jordan, Scotty Mashburn, Bay McGowan, and Leroy Schuman. And I'm just going to go through this. If anybody got any questions, stop me. But I'll just real quickly, all right, we'll back up. Go to the Board of Assessors. Members are David Harrell, Eddie Green, Kay Wilbanks, Lloyd Borden, and Gene Roney. Go back to the Board of Elections and Registration. Members are Gwendolyn Ford, Lee Harris, Wayne Wilkin, Earl Clark Jr., and Betty Bryant. Next, Board of Health. All right, the Board of Health consists of 7 members. The county commissioners appoint 4. They define them as positions 1 through 4. The Board of Education gets to appoint the position 5, and the City of Vienna gets to appoint positions 6 and 7. So all I track is just the commissioners' appointments. I don't try to track all of everybody else. Position 1 is usually Chairman Barron. Position 2, Rebecca Tidings. Position 3, Shay Massey. And position 4 is currently vacant. And we got to work on that, but we'll work on that later. DFACS Board. Members are Deborah Bryant, Lisa Bryant, Earl Clark, Consuelo Clayton, and Yasmin Frias.
What does that board do?
They hire. When I was on it in Doherty County, it used to, it was like the school boards before we had a lot more local power. They don't anymore, per se. What they do is they have input on hiring and firing the county director, although that's really state driven. And in Doherty County, there was a fund of about $300,000 for emergencies, and we doled out a little bit of that from time to time. And then the board has to approve the reports that are required by state law. And they give you the reports on how many open cases of TANF and whatever. And you say, thank you. And then that's about it. It's an oversight board is what it really is.
So they have no authority of opening and closing this office?
Nope.
Or office hours or?
Nope.
Nothing.
They are simply there to perform a statutory duty that really has been gutted whenever it was from local to state.
Okay. Moving along. The Industrial Development Authority. Members are Michael Bowens, Christy Greer, Robert Jeter, Mac Jordan, Bay McGowan, and Leroy Schuman. Library Board. Members are Angie Brannon, Gwendolyn Dexter, Elaine Johnson, Catherine Jones, and Laurie Lowry. Planning Commission. Current members are John Averill Jr., Henry Blue, Layfield Buchholz, Sylvester Granville, Mac Jordan, Sammy Lewis, Kelly Noller, Larry Spivey, Tony Turner. Recreation Board. Members John Averill Jr., Martavius Brown, Michael Daniels Sr., Shantanika Felton, Crystal Jordan, Steve Morgan, Joe Owens, whose term has expired, and we'll deal with that later. Tammy Redding and Audrey Faye Taylor. The Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, Region 6 Advisory Council, Ms. Beverly Richter. Ooh, her term has expired. We need to address that. She continues to serve until we reappoint somebody, so we'll try to make a note of that, Linda, if you would. Check with her and see if she's willing to serve another term on that. On the Middle Flint Behavioral Health Care Community Service Board, Betty Lamb serves on that, and we can have two representatives. We can only have one right now, and the other one's vacant. If you know somebody that would like to serve, we have difficulty finding somebody to serve on that board. Middle Flint Regional E91 Authority. That's the authority that consists of, I can't remember where it's, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counties. Each county has a representative on the board. Kenny Calhoun's Dooley County's representative on the 911 authority. You got a question about that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I was just checking it. I have to raise up to see the bottom part.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. What county it was. Yeah.
Middle Georgia Regional Solid Waste Authority. That's a 3-county authority with Dooley County, Macon County, and Peach County. Commissioner Lester and myself represent Dooley County on this. Dooley County has 2 members. Peach County has 2 members. Macon County, since they are the host of the facility, they have 3 members on the authority. And the authority has leased out the facility to a private company that's running it. And I'm not hearing any complaints. So everything must be going fairly well. And then the last one is the River Valley Regional Commission Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council. Dino Lemon, and I believe, didn't we just appoint Deborah Bryant?
Right.
So I need to update the website on that. So those are the 2 representatives we have on that. Okay, I think that should be all the board appointments. So let's go back to the agenda. Okay, the board must appoint a member to represent the commission on the Chamber of Commerce for 23. For 22, it was Commissioner Casey.
When you on it?
One time, I don't know if it was 21 or 22, but they hadn't met since COVID.
They've been busy.
No comment.
Do you want to go back on there?
As a name placeholder, I will go back on
Okay.
there.
Yeah, because Mr. Casey, he's already on like 2 or 3 other ones, Mr. Chairman. So I would recommend that we nominate Mr. Mixon for that one, Chamber of Commerce board.
That's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, now we're back to our regular agenda. Approval of the minutes of the December 15th regular meeting and the executive session.
Need a motion for that?
Need a motion.
Okay, I so move, Mr. Chairman. We approve the minutes.
Any motion? Is there a second? I'm sorry.
No, you got it. Don't
Second.
stop now.
Okay.
I know every time I look up, I almost about to say something.
Second.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
My one chance. I'm gonna take advantage of
There
it.
you go.
A second. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Item 2, should have the financial report for December available at the next meeting. Item number 3, like we talked about when we was going through the checking accounts, we need a new checking account for the new T-Splosh that went into effect first of this month. So I'd like to have a motion to authorize us to open up a new checking account at South Georgia Bank under the same conditions of all other accounts. It requires 2 signatures of the chairman, the vice chairman, the administrator, or the clerk. 2 of those signatures on all checks.
I'll make a motion.
For all that he said, yeah, I'm second.
Second. Any discussion?
Well, let me ask you this. We don't know how long Eugene gonna be out. So I don't know. I guess, cause you said you're gonna need how many?
Just 2 signatures out of those 4. And
Okay,
ordinarily, me and Linda sign all the checks.
okay.
Y'all, the chairman and vice chairman are there just in case something happens to one of
So
us.
you don't need, okay.
So we still have a backup.
Okay, all right. Okay, that sounds good.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. Thank you. Okay, we done that. All right, on the Board of Health, if we're going through, say Massey's term is expired, but have you heard anything back?
No, not at all.
We're still trying to make contact with her, so we're gonna leave this on. Somebody from the board, from the health department has indicated that they think she's willing, so I'm trying to help get them to help get word to her. Just let us know she's willing. We're willing to appoint her, but we don't want to appoint her if she's not willing, so we'll leave that on the agenda. Item number 5, on the rec board, Joe Owens' term has expired. That's in Commissioner, I think Commissioner Mixon was working on that. Has he got anything on that, or are you leave it on the agenda?
Leave it.
Okay. Do that. Item number 6, the Fullerton Academy football team recently won the 2022 GIIA Region 1A. I took the liberty of preparing a proclamation just in case y'all wanted to adopt it. If you do, I'm working on a way to scan y'all signatures onto it, so I want to get that done. But if y'all are willing, the question right now is, would y'all like to adopt the proclamation honoring the football team? If so, need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
You said you're gonna have a stamp so we can, I mean, whatever you call that thing.
I gotta get y'all signatures on a blank piece of paper before y'all leave today. But the Fullerton Academy 1-act play recently won their GISA Region 3A championship. So I took the liberty of preparing a proclamation for that also, if there's a motion to do so.
So moved.
Second.
And I have tried to let both schools know, like, it ain't just got to be athletics.
Right, exactly.
Academics, anything that they think they'd like for their students to be recognized. I felt sure y'all would not have a problem recognizing that.
We want to honor them.
That's kind of what I thought. That's just good PR for everybody.
There you go.
That's good. Okay, there's a motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. And Fullerton also, their softball team recently made it to their semifinals in the G something or other. I forget what it was. I got it here on the proclamation.
Starts with a G.
They're GIAA. So is there a motion for that proclamation?
I so move, Mr. Chairman, on that one.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. Thank you.
We're moving to the next one. Oh, one question. Did they open the road bids?
That's, oh, I meant to add that on. That got added on to the agenda. Yeah, I've got that as an item for us to talk about.
Not on my sheet.
I know it didn't make it on your sheet. We're going to amend the motion to approve the amended agenda. That's all right with y'all to add that to it. But yeah, that is a very important. Okay, and number 10, like I talked about, we have actually got in the mail 2 checks for the opioid settlement. We've gotten $5,800 and $15,800. So we got $21,000. So, and we're supposedly going to be getting money for her several years to come from several different places. All we got to check. I don't have no clue what this money's for. Other than it's the opioid
So the
settlement.
lawyers already paid then.
They ain't getting none. They ain't getting none of our money.
Okay, good.
I'm sure their checks had a lot more numbers
Oh,
on
I
it than
know.
what our checks
I know.
got. But since this is going to be coming for several years, and it's very limited on what this money can be spent for, I'm requesting let's set up a separate check account. That's what all Linda needs is another checking account to have the balance bank statement at the end of each month. But I think it's going to be the bed.
What would be, you said limited,
It's got to be spent on something to deal with the opioid crisis. And
They've got, the federal judge has set out what it can be spent on, and he's going to direct what we can spend it on.
we don't know yet. Okay.
Well, we do, but but each one of them is different, and they're going to have a set of criteria for it. So it's not free money to spend on anything else. I mean, there's going to be certain things that are related directly to it, like you could probably buy Narcan with it. You could probably do this or that, but it's not going to take the place. It's money, but it comes with strings. Just think of it as a grant.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if you don't spend it the right way, you get in trouble. So that's the reason it's got to be segregated out. But that's $15,000, huh?
that's what I'm and we got two checks.
The first one we knew about the 5. I didn't know about the 15,000 going to be that.
Oh, this 5.
You're not
That
gonna
was
get
the
in on it.
2 years of the
Cash.
2021.
We're trying to get some of it.
Do we still have the DARE program? Is the DARE program still in the schools?
That's up to shit. I don't know what to call it
I think
now.
I seen it going on in Christiana, but I ain't seen it up
I
here.
did it when I.
Excuse me. You're the head of the jail. and the DARE program is to keep people out of the jail. Is it working?
Why you trying to put Mr. Brian
Yeah,
on the
really.
spot?
Now, come on. Let's leave there. But
Because I'd already looked at him. He shook his head. Don't ask me.
and see, all we got was just these two. Hey, focus. Back here. All we got was the check. There's no paperwork came with it telling us what it's for or anything.
Take it.
Well, I'm not going to turn it back. But my question is,
It's from the same one, but different. Same.
There's $5,000. There's 5 commissioners.
No, we ain't gonna do that. I can't.
no, I ain't going to the big house with
No,
that little bit of money.
Yeah, there's gotta be a lot more than that.
A lot more zeros at the end of it.
No.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we set up a checking account.
Hold on just a
Oh.
second. My question, are we going to need you saying there's going to be different guidelines for possibly for the different
What I would do
sources?
is I'd put them in an account and do the accounting. I'd do all the opioid money in one account. But
I'm definitely going to have a separate, my question, do we need to have a separate account for each source?
no, you just need to have like sub accounts.
Oh, there's going to be plenty of documentation. Definitely, that's what
As long as it's segregated into the opioid account and you can document, which one it came from and where we spent it on that, I think that'll be sufficient.
Okay.
Um,
All right. Okay. All right. So then now the floor is open
Okay.
for a motion to authorize me to open up a new checking account for the opioid settlement funds at South Georgia Bank with the same guidelines. Also, checks require 2 signatures. And blah, blah, blah.
I so moved, Mr. Chairman, what all he just said.
There you go.
Second.
Okay, that was number 10.
Okay, we did Steve got it.
I'm trying to get caught up here, Lester. Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. Thank you.
But he gonna find out, Mr. Burke gonna find out what we can spend it on.
Mm-hmm. I've got part of that first. I mean, was that Janssen money or?
Well, it's like the money that they gave us criteria on, we don't have the money's coming, we don't have it yet.
Mm-hmm.
The money that showed up, we don't have the criteria on.
for. So we'll just get put in the bank and we'll wait till.
What's going on is I talked to Chris in Macon, the lawyer that is working with us locally on this, and And he said that these are the small ones. And what they're doing is they're settling with the smaller pharmacies, maybe like, I'm just going to use like Kroger or something like that. They're settling with those people small to get out of it because they've got a small piece of it. And they're trying to get as many of those lumped up to then force the bigger ones to settle. So the big money's coming. This is the small stuff, and there's going to be a lot of the small ones before we see the big ones. But hey, that's $20,000.
The criteria we've got and the money we don't have, what does that criteria tell us you can spend it on?
Hold on just a second, Will. I should be able to find that right relatively quick. Go to lawsuits. Opioid litigation.
Yeah, it came back, what, about September, November?
Yeah, I'm thinking this might be it. Yeah, this is going, that's going to be in here somewhere, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Where's that? Just all the counties. This is where it's going to be. I think this is where it's going to be.
I thought it was an order from a court somebody should have spelled it all out.
Well, we
may not be there yet, but they may be reinterpreting that order for us.
List of opioid remediation uses.
Okay, you could buy Narcan.
This all gets over my head real quick.
My education of school days and youth, I was just reading that down there, program for the discouragement of youth.
Well, it's training on. Is training on the use of the Narcan drug, or whatever we call it. Increased distribution. So apparently this is where we've got to get some, these are the guidelines, but it's going to have to be given some interpretation, and it might be that you're able to give those out to people. You might be able to give Narcan out. That's what they're saying, but you're going to have a program for it. So we've got to get someone that does a program, which is paperwork.
Anyway, that's.
Wait, go back up.
Get a warm handoff.
Treatment for incarcerated.
Evidence-based treatment and recovery support.
Increase
Which means
for jails to provide.
Okay, but part of that evidence-based treatment means an actual recovery program, not just don't use drugs and Nancy Reagan don't say no to drugs. You're talking about an actual contracting with someone to come in and actually do a rehab program. Well, prevention materials. There's Commissioner Cason's put on the side of the ambulance. Don't do drugs, kind of thing.
Funding from each. So would purchasing an ambulance, putting a sign on the side?
Now this is true. This is an absolute true statement about these things. In South Dakota, they've got a real bad meth problem. I don't know why, but they do. And they have a program there, and their real cost campaign there is not real cost. It is the I'm on it campaign. We're on top of this. We're on it. And somebody went through this, and it was on a YouTube video, and I saw it, and it was for real. No one thought about it, and they had the governor and a senator, U.S. senator, and it was South Dakota. It says, meth, I'm on it. One of them said, meth, I'm on it. And it ran for like a week before anyone realized. So I would advise you not to adopt the I'm on it campaign.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, go ahead with the ambulance, and we knew we were gonna have to spend that money anyway. If they say you can't do it, we'll just reimburse the fund.
Anyway, all right, so there's quite a long list of uses, but we're gonna deposit the money and wait and work on that. Okay, so let's move on. All right, item number 11, the next meeting of the planning commission is scheduled for next Monday, January the 9th at 5:30 here at the county commissioner's office. There's no zoning request for consideration at this meeting. Representatives from the River Valley Regional Commission will be present to begin the process of updating our zoning ordinance. And the county commissioners are invited to attend. So that's next Monday at 5:30.
Do we fund any of the drug court?
We have in the past out of our drug and education fund.
Out of the general fund?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say, this looks like it would meet that criteria for an evidence-based program. And you might be able, if you're funding it from one, that's another special fund. I was trying to look at what you could do to take it out of the general.
Relieve
fund.
the general fund.
Right.
Yeah. Item number 12. This is just a reminder. I wanted to ask Bert this question. If we get to the point where we want to, say, appoint an current employee, also give them a code enforcement officer's duties,
Mm-hmm.
how would that happen?
Well, number one, they're gonna need the training if they're gonna go out and be serving that.
Where would they get training?
You can talk to Craig about that, about as far as Sheriff Peavy regarding, there are courses on that.
Okay.
That they do, and I don't know if Gypsy does it or who does it, but my advice on code enforcement like that is find someone who is either recently retired from it or that already has the experience in it, and let them come in and set up your program, and maybe keep it. It wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea to keep it separate from the building inspector part, because a lot of times they put them together, but have the inspector over here and the enforcement over here, and that takes those roles out of it.
Yeah.
And really, that's the way it's done in larger places.
Right.
And I think you get into trouble when you start putting everything under one umbrella, because I'm judge, jury, execution.
Mm-hmm. I just want to have this discussion.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're there now, but I think we're going to get to that point in the very future.
Right. And you don't, code enforcement can be done two ways. You can have somebody ride around with a clipboard looking for reasons to enforce codes, kind of like running traffic on the interstate, or you can respond to calls as they come in.
Mm-hmm.
There's two different ways of policing this.
Right. And
if you're going to have a situation where you're policing it because it needs policing and you're not over policing it, then I would think I could locate you some people that are retired or would be willing to do it on the side, and I've got somebody in mind right now that does it for the city of Leesburg, who does it for Lee County, and he does it under intergovernmental agreement for Leesburg, but he's very good at it, and I'm not saying he's the only person. I've got another person I'm thinking of that used to do it for the City of Americas that's retired, and then probably come in and do it on a case by case or as needed basis. And then all you'd have to do, if the retired person, you'd have to still pay for their training, which would be an expense. But if you got with somebody who already has the training and did it on the side with them, or they did it on a Saturday or after hours or whatever, then you would save all that training, or you would share a fraction of that cost with somebody. And that makes a lot more sense, because I can't imagine we need a full-time code enforcement officer.
I'm not talking about a full-time.
I can't imagine we need a part-time one. It sounds like we need a contract one.
Okay. All right.
We've only had 3 cases where we've agreed to push it further than.
Yeah, I definitely don't see the need for a full-time.
No. If you could roll it into somebody here But if you gotta do all this training and all that, it might be better just pay them
A contract.
$400 to handle this
Yeah.
case.
Well, also, nobody wants to be the code enforcement officer living in this community because people can call them and all this. I mean, have somebody that's fair and objective to do it. And, you know, and then also if they're not in this community and they become a tyrant, you're not offending anybody that's voting for you when you fire them.
Yeah.
And if they're contract, you're not firing, you're just not renewing the contract. It didn't work out.
Okay.
My advice.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
may get a couple names. I may just call and talk to them.
Right. Because this is not going to be a popular person.
No, not to do the job.
Right. This person's going to be less popular than the building inspection office.
Or the tax assessor's office.
Correct.
So, okay. I just feel like we need to have that conversation. So, all right. And then just another conversation, you know, do we want to consider a business and occupational tax? It's what folks used to call business licenses. But we never have issued business licenses in the county.
What type of businesses does that cover?
That's getting into the area. I need to do some research on all that. I don't know if y'all would even be interested in getting additional information. This is all I'm asking right now.
First thing I hear is farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, so we don't cover farmers. Well, we do. Do we exempt agriculture? Is it even allowed to be covered? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that was one of the main questions I thought of.
So then the first thing that's going to happen there is you're going to want to, there's going to be a push to exempt farmers. And then if there's not, then where do you tax the farmer who's farming? You know, Hardy Gregory's got land. He doesn't farm it, but he farms it out. No pun intended. He has someone else come and farm his land. So they're renting the farm. Are we going to get to that level? Do we want to get there? Okay, then let's take another level. You know, what was it with the pivots? And we were getting taxed on the pivots. No, we were getting income. We were getting sales tax on the electricity going to the pivots until the gate cards came out. And the gate cards, all of a sudden, people started paying their power bills on their pivots with the gate cards, and we don't get the tax. So we had a drop in the sales tax. So there's always going to be this farm thing that's going on because we're so heavily farming. So then who are you picking on? You're picking on the beauty shop out here in the county or the auto shop over here. It's going to be a small number of people. Is it worth the trouble if you exempt farms? I'm just saying because that's going to come up. And
isn't this like retail and service? So a farmer picking a crop, no, but a gin, yes. A trucking company, yes. They're providing services to.
But I farm most of the time. I just run trucking for.
You run trucking.
Just for agricultural reasons.
You run trucking.
You see where that's going.
I see what you're saying, but a farmer that has his shop behind his house picking however many acres of cotton, no. But if you've got a trucking company over here and you got a gin over here and a warehouse over
But
here,
I run it all under my farm operation.
well,
You
then
just
we'll
exempted
get
my
you
farm.
too, if that's how you want to
Okay.
play. But I'm just
Yeah, I'm not arguing. I'm just throwing out what's going to happen.
I know,
Everybody's going to think they're exempt. Period.
they're farming, commercial farming. The farm itself, I would say okay, but the other not. But and I'm not big on taxing, calling it a tax or charging people as much as it is. We don't know what's in the county.
Right.
You don't know if there's a daycare down at Campers Haven that's not.
Okay, well, that gets into what it is. It is a tax by law. Okay? You can call it what you want to, but it's called an occupational tax. So then there's occupations that are not covered because of like the farming and others are regulated outside of that, like lawyers are regulated by the Supreme Court of Georgia. So they're not really subject to these taxes.
If you're in the city limits, you pay this every year. I just paid mine
Mm-hmm.
several times. I mean, I don't know why do other counties not have business license?
Some do, some don't.
I very briefly, Chris County does. I was surprised to learn Sumter County doesn't.
The reason
And I know Halton County does. I didn't check Pulaski and Wilcox.
I mean, doesn't this come back to how many jobs and stuff? I mean,
Well,
a way to, because we have to put how many employees.
It can be based on employees, number of employees, or it can be based on total sales. From what little I've checked on.
Right. You can have different measures in there.
I don't like total sales because I don't think it's anybody. I don't think it's anybody but the IRS's business of what somebody brings in.
Don't disagree with that.
But I mean, Unadilla does it. How many we pay per? We pay a tiered rate per employee. I think Vienna does the same.
I mean, I wouldn't suggest this as a revenue stream. You're just doing it more for information just to know what's out there. So let me gather some more information on it.
I had a lady that asked me about the same thing about a week ago because she was cooking food out of a trailer. And she wanted to know if she bought a business license in the county, could it apply to all the surrounding counties? And she wouldn't have to buy another business license in Houston County, Chris County when she wanted to go sell food. You know, she gonna pull the trailer behind her truck.
It don't apply because this is a guy now I know. He moved from Texas, had everything he need, but once he came Cardill, he had to get everything over again.
Okay. Careful.
They just
Let's
passed that
Let's be
law.
very careful on that example because it's fraught with a lot of problems. First, he moved from Texas,
Yeah.
so he's not covered by any other entity in Georgia. If you are covered by another entity in Georgia, theoretically, you're not supposed to have to buy a business license when you go somewhere else.
Okay.
That's
For
just one in
instance.
effect, yeah.
But if you don't have one in Georgia anywhere, in Texas, that's the reason your example. I get it, but it's a bad example as far as coming from Texas. Now, the problem is you're going to have to fight those. Most jurisdictions don't care that you're licensed somewhere. That's fine. You're subject to a license. You can't be double taxed. But when you start doing a mobile operation, that you're actually moving your location into their city. Now, what's the difference between that and whenever I had my client of many years at the time, AAA Concrete and Roto-Rooter, came and redid something for my plumbing because I had a deal worked out with them. Well, oh my Lord, the city of Vienna shows up to shut them down because some plumber here didn't get the business, didn't even know they existed, and they're mad because they're moving in on their territory. So they got all worry and they come to shut them down to get their nose in the business because they need a building permit. Not a building permit, a business license. Permit's a different story. And so you start attacking people like that and so they had to buy a business license just to do my job that was $1,500. They had to buy a $100 license.
$100.
And that was just, I should have fought them on it, but I was being nice and all that. But, again, people start using it as a weapon.
If you're a mechanic shop out in the county and you apply to Napa or another parts thing for an account and you try to open up a purchasing account from somebody, first thing they ask you for is a business license. And then you have to go round and round and round for somebody to figure out, well, my county doesn't give us business license.
Well, if they really want a business license that bad, I bet the city of Vienna would sell them one.
Well, I get that,
For $100,
but it's
they'll
like,
turn down nobody.
but we don't offer that to, and that's a rare occasion. But anytime you go to purchase something now or they ask you for your business license, and you don't have that, and then it goes back to another tax that is sales tax.
Mhm.
I mean,
Making sure the sales tax is in place.
are we getting sales tax at Campers Haven? Are you getting sales tax?
Well, that's a whole nother, that's worrying about something that's not really ours, in the sense that if you suspect that, then you turn those people in the state, and the state has all the resources to go down because they're getting more of the sales tax than we are, and they actually are the enforcement agency on whether or not someone's reporting sales tax.
But we don't even know if that place is in business because we don't have nobody
understand.
registering a business license at the first of every year.
But they ain't in the business down there unless they can sell alcohol, and they can't sell alcohol unless they get a permit from us, and they also get one from the state.
Can't legally sell alcohol.
Yeah. I'm picking on that end. Sorry, I'm picking on that end. of the
Only
thing,
because Mr. Casey is not here. It's
But
not
over
able to
here,
be
the campground on the Dooley Pulaski line, it doesn't have a business license. Does it pay sales tax?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have to give, I don't care where I go to work. I mean, if I go to a different place, I got to buy a business
I
license.
knew which one.
I got to buy one. Else they won't let me get a business.
All right,
Yeah.
moving right along. Let's move on to the next item.
And the answer is yes.
They do?
They do.
All right, we've gotten the results of our salary study from the consultant. When would y'all like to schedule a work session for him to have a Zoom meeting to go over it with y'all? He would prefer late afternoon, 4:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30, something like that, if possible.
I'm gonna be out of town for the next 3 months, so whenever.
Well, we've got.
During that
We want to invite you to this
I'm
meeting.
We've
just
already got a
inviting
meeting
myself.
next week at 5:30 one night.
What?
So we've already got one meeting next week at 5:30, so let's
Yeah.
not do next
All
week.
right, I'm-
I prefer, but one night late is enough for a week.
Do y'all want to schedule it now or leave it on the agenda and schedule it next time?
I honestly hadn't had a chance to look over it.
Is it 5 Thursdays in this? I think it's gonna be 5 Thursdays in this January, ain't it?
Next Monday's 5:30 planning
It's
commission.
coming up Monday.
Next Monday.
Well, why is it that he can't do it after the county commission meeting?
Well, I ain't gonna say he can't.
Mhm.
That's possible too. Just get him with enough notice ahead of time for him to get his schedule together.
The only reason why I said that because we already gonna be here.
Okay, along that lines,
On the
let me pull my calendar back.
19th.
The next meeting. Calendar, where you at? Calendar. Would be the 19th. And right now, there's really nothing on the agenda now, so
Try it.
say 10 o'clock.
How long is it gonna take him to do it?
It could take an hour.
10 and 11, yeah.
But when he came met with us, about an hour is all I could take. I was
So you're
overwhelmed.
paying him, he need.
When there's not gonna be any additional charge. We done paid for this.
Yeah, but I'm saying we paid though.
Right.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
And I foresee maybe having one and maybe having a follow-up later. Because this is pretty involved.
Right.
But yeah, I would like for y'all to at least have looked through it
Yeah. I will.
before we do the meeting with him. So you may see if he could do it after our next meeting that morning. Okay. All
Will
right.
you let us know as soon as he
Yeah.
confirms that?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I want to read it.
All right. And then before we go to executive on the personnel matter, the LMIG road projects. If you would. You could actually, well, never mind.
You're gonna give me that.
1, 2, 3, 4. They actually had the bid opening before Christmas for the bid for the LMIG projects, and the engineers have reviewed them and have separated out Dooley County's portion. I'll let you more look at it, but anyway. Skip that first small page there, the two big maps. These are the maps, all the projects that we considered to adding, and y'all chose 3 of them, the 3 that are highlighted in yellow. Parker Store Road, Mount Vernon Road, Then on the next page, Slosh Eye Trail. But we made a change to the Slosh Eye Trail portion that we wound up taking bids on. That lower left-hand portion of Slosh Eye Trail that's got the black marks through it, we deleted that. So we only took bids for Slosh Eye Trail from Highway 41 to Pleasant Valley Road. Because that other section there was in fairly good shape, no houses, trying to cut the cost of it. And we knew that based on the estimates, it was going to take more than just our LMIG money to fund those projects. But we said, let's get the bids and look at the bids. So now you can go back to the front page. In that top little section there, we have Mount Vernon Road, Parker Store Road, and Slosh Eye Trail Road. And back in September last year, our engineers estimated the cost. Estimated Mount Vernon at $452,000, Parker Store at $327,000, Slosh Eye Trail at $625,000 for a total of $1,400,000. When the actual bids came in, Mount Vernon came in at $466,000. Parker Store came in at $338,000. Slosh Eye came in at $479,000. And then, Slosh Eye came in lower than the estimate because we took off some mileage on that. That's the reason it come in. So go to that next little box there. If we tried to do all three of those roads, the funds that are available, we got LMIG funds available of $728,000. And we got to have a local match, 10% match of that, of $72,000. That would leave, we need some additional funding from some source of $484,000 to do all three roads. And the only source I can think of that's even an option would be the ARPA money. And I don't know if y'all want to take $484,000 hit out of the ARPA money to do all three roads. So then I said, all right, well, if we dropped off a road, the next little box there, if we did Mount Vernon and Parker Store, which would be leaving all Slosh Eye Trail, with our LMIG and our local match, we need to come up with $4,000 additional money. The next box, if we did Mount Vernon and Slosh Eye, which would be leaving off Parker Store Road, we would need to come up with an additional $145,000. And if we did Parker Store and Slosh Eye, which would be leaving off Mount Vernon, we would need an additional $17,499.
Which one's in worse shape? Parker Store or Mount Vernon?
Now, I'm trying to see. I know the road that you live right on, that road, that part of it really need to be. What's the name of that?
Slosh Eye.
Yeah, it really. I think
That section is, and you could cut another section of Slosh Eye. I know they might not want to, but you could cut from, is it not Swearingen? Not Swearingen. The section from 41 to the Fork.
We looked at, Rodney and I looked at that, but that's such a short section. If you don't do it now,
It won't ever get done.
when would it ever get resurfaced? Was the only reason I didn't cut that section off of it. And another reason, that section is probably going to get the most travel of any of the rest of the section.
Yeah, because it feeds McNeese, Swearingen,
And Slosh Eye
okay.
was sort of my limited thinking on it.
I don't want to cut the other end because that's, what's the farmers?
Morrell.
Morrell's, the trucking, and there's another house down there.
So I read the first question is, are y'all willing to fund all three of them,
we're gonna come up with that.
get $484,000 out of ARPA money? That's a big hit from ARPA. So
Yeah, I don't want to hit it because
I I didn't think so. That's why I did these others. So then, what are the other, which road do you want to cut out? Mount Vernon, Parker Store, or Slasheye Trail?
I was asking
And-
on Parker Store, that's not all of Parker Store.
No, but that's the paved section, isn't it?
No, I don't know
Park
Parker.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because once you get to that crossroad there, Parker Store turns dirt, doesn't it?
That's right.
If you continue straight, it turns dirt
Right.
for a little while.
Right. And I was thinking, up, when you get off of 230, going around that curve. I mean, I know the whole road need to be paved.
Yeah, there's no real intersection between
Yeah.
that you could cut it off between.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Do people live on that road?
No more than the airplane, man. All
Patricia
the way up
Everidge's house is at
at
the
top of it.
intersection.
Patricia Everett.
Or Rigdon now, I reckon is her name.
Okay. Run, whatever. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. It might be another house back out down in the woods.
I know where we are now. I
Yeah.
was.
Mount Vernon Road, how many are there residences on it?
Yeah, that feeds a lot back there, doesn't it? Well, that was the one they did all that cutting back there, wasn't it? The trees. Didn't they cut? They messed up some of the road back there on the end. Mount Vernon's right before you get to Lily on the left.
That's right.
The Beavers, isn't that where the Beavers live right there on the corner?
They do. But is that road in that bad a shape?
I know we had a problem, they logged that
Yeah. They cut
on the
they
left,
make it
right,
back there.
and they cut the road, they messed the road, they messed a section of that up then, but I don't.
But then let me ask you this question then. What if we didn't do that section that they messed up real bad? I know we try to do whole roads, but and then it take the other mileage and put it on some of the other roads.
Or let me say this, we don't have to make a decision on this today, but this decision needs to be made at least by the next meeting because we've got to get our LMIG funding from DOT for 23. We've got to submit the paperwork by the end of this month.
I sort of like to ride.
Yeah, I'd like to ride.
So that's what I'm
His
saying.
district, but I didn't.
Just want to say that's why we ain't got to make a decision today, but we need to be prepared to make and not say next meeting, well, how much would it cost if we cut off a section? It's either these 3 entire projects or 2 of these projects. We can't be modifying a project this late in the day.
Does Parker Store cut through to 230 over there?
Yeah, it come directly into two.
But is that a heavy traffic cut through?
I don't travel that road a lot, but I don't believe it is. Yeah. But I would ride.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
That's why
Let me see.
but I didn't get this till late yesterday's reading. I didn't get this out to y'all ahead of the meeting today. So, all right, then the only other item is like a real brief executive session for a personnel matter. So,
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Yeah.
all in favor, go.
Session.
Second.
Let's get. All in favor, raise your hand. Sorry. We gotta get back to the record stuff, Ms. Later. I can't do all this at one time.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of executive session as read in executive session.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. So we're back in the
Make a motion that we make a motion that we make Joseph Willis the permanent recreation department director.
The second.
change his job title from interim rec director to rec director.
That's it.
So any more discussion about The motion on the floor.
That's
All in favor, raise your hand.
You can cut it out. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion with adjourn.
Okay.
A second.
All those in favor?
Now you can turn it off.
Well, unedited.